Hi, this is Stephen Paul West and welcome to I Found Something Beautiful. Today I'm going to be talking about tricks and tips of the Canon 8800F scanner. Now I've been working with this scanner for about 3 or 4 months on some pretty complex projects, so I think that I have the efficiency to be able to explain some of the details that I've been reading out on the internet. Some photographers have been working with old slides, even glass. They've been wondering how to make these slides work with this scanner. And I've got a trick for that, and I'll be covering that. This is a really good scanner, and I'm enjoying it. I've got just a lot of different things that I've been needing to do with it, and we'll go ahead and take a look at some of these projects. Okay, one of the very first projects that I wanted to get settled in was I have all of these boxes of old slides and negatives. My father was a photographer during World War II. He was a technical sergeant, and he was one of the few gentlemen who could carry a camera into battle. So I've got all of these old slides and prints, and of course a lot of these have to do with my family. So getting these kind of things into a computer where they're forever sealed is kind of a unique thing. I have all of these old negatives of various kinds. Most of these are from the 60s and 70s of the negatives. The slides are particularly something that I wanted to work with. Now these kind of slides, which are your standard 35mm slide, those are rather easy to work with. And but as you go down through time here, you'll see that I have all different kinds of slides. This is a box of negatives of various kinds. And then my last, this particular box here, there we go. There we go, I got this box open. So most of these are 35mm, but you see these are back to December 1945, and then I even have some oddball slides from the 30s and early 40s. I think that's probably 42 right there. And I've been noticing that a lot of photographers out on the internet and general users have been asking how they can possibly do odd size slides and negatives. That's a normal 35mm right there. And I have a working solution. There's my father's handwriting on the back. So in order to do that, I went and purchased a Canon 8800F. And it's just a wonderful piece of equipment. The warm-up time, because it's LED, is absolutely nothing. You turn it on, you press a button, and it's going. This means that I could put in a couple of slides, press a button, go back to work, come back an hour later, remove those slides, put in another group, press a button, and walk away. It was simply that easy. So it was not like it demanded my utmost attention to work on these slides. This is one of the beauties of having your own slide scanner. You could squeeze it in the middle of all your other projects and work around it in the order of your life. Now if I had to sit there and try to scan all these things in with a conventional scanner, you'd have to wait for the lamp to warm up, then you have to calibrate the software, then you have to make sure that it's scanning. That was a lot of hard work, but the Canon 8800F doesn't have any of these particular drawbacks, and I'll cover later on how to use the software to work with these odd size negatives. And this seems to be one of the most pressing questions that I find on the internet. Folks don't know how to work with that, and I have an easy workaround for that. However, my next project that I want to work on this is my father's Stars and Stripes that he sent over from Europe. Now these are special editions, and as you can see I have quite a few. Of course, one of the unique features of these Stars and Stripes is they are the European editions, so there's not very many of these that are preserved, and they're beginning to get yellow and brittle. Hitler's dead. This is December 1945. How many points the GIs need to go home. Different battle strategies. Now getting these all in will take quite a bit of time, but as you can see they're beginning to yellow and fall apart, and the world's time's being unkind for these. So this is one of the pressing projects that I have to get this digitized as well. And then lastly, I've been trying to get some of my own line art scanned in and preserved as well. Here is my charcoal and pencil of Hedy Lamarr. Here's a graphite sketch I did of a lion with some colorization to it, hand-drawn. All of these are hand-drawn. So I want to preserve these. I want to be able to scan these in. I'd also like to offer a limited number of digital prints based on what I've done here. The only thing I've found is that the scanning of line art is not as good as scanning it in as a straight color print and then using Photoshop to remove hue and saturation. Quick overview of what comes inside of it. First off, you have this slide tray that you use, and the slides just drop right in there. If they're the 35mm, they fit just fine. These notches here tell the scanner what's going on, what it is that it's scanning. So that will enter in later on. Of course, there's tabs here and here that fit down in the scanner, and I'll show you where those go in just a moment. This is the film scanner, and for the negatives, 35mm negatives and other size negatives. Now they sell other trays that are available out there and you can purchase those trays, but you don't necessarily need them. You can mask off the scanner yourself and get by if you have a limited number of a certain odd size scan. If you have a lot of them, I'd recommend the trays. Again, you can see that there's the holes here that tell the scanner what it needs to do. And the film, they fit in there, and there's an orientation so that things scan in right side up and not backwards. If you scan something that has lettering and you scan it in backwards, of course you'll see the letters backwards and upside down, and that's distracting. An average image you won't even notice, but anything with writing, you'll notice that it's backwards. Okay, so as I promised, I'm going to show you a little trick here for you to be able to scan any slide, any size negative, as long as it fits in that little tray area. See, the default, if you hit the buttons, it brings up a different kind of scan utility. It brings up a very rudimentary scan utility that won't reach down and grab everything. So this is the default if you press the buttons of the scan utility that it brings up, and it's very, very limited, the details of it. Let me show you the software that pops up. See, it doesn't allow me to change size or anything like that. It's very rudimentary. So the people on the internet that are saying they can't scan different slides are using the wrong software. But what you want to use is this Photo Studio. And if you go ahead and you bring that up, it brings up an entirely different dialog. So as you can see, I was scanning in some slides of my father here, and these are just however I want to define it. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go ahead and scan this odd size bag. Okay, let's say you had a slide that was this size. Well, obviously that's a very unusual bit of scanning, so I'm going to place it in there, put the bag in the reader, and then I click preview down here, and so it'll go ahead and do a preview for me of this area. And as you can see, it's very, very fast. Now once that preview is set, then you can go ahead and adjust for any size slide that you want. And I'm going to go ahead and just adjust this down. So going over here, I can say, okay, this is really a negative. So I'll ask it to go ahead and preview that negative. And this time it'll actually scan through the plastic bag instead of scanning over the top of the plastic bag. And as you can see, it was very, very quick and easy for me to go ahead and set that up. So if you have an odd size plate or an even glass image from a spectrograph, let's say, you could go ahead and put that on, just physically put it on, draw the dimensions that you want around the image, just like I did here, and hit scan. It's just that easy. There's nothing special or unusual you have to do. And as you can see, I set it for a negative film, so it made the black ink white and the white bag black. But if I would have reversed it the other way and I would have so it was a positive, you'll see that it'll scan in as a positive. So it doesn't matter how odd size shape your slides are or your negatives. Don't worry about it. As long as it fits in that area, you can scan it as large as you want. And that's today's trick with this 8800F. And certainly I would highly recommend this particular scanner. It's been versatile. It's been full featured for me. I haven't had any problems. It's rapid, and I've scanned 2,000 or 3,000 negatives so far and at least 1,000 slides. And I've done all different kinds of things, including slides back into the early 30s. And this is Stephen Paul West, and this is my review of the Canon 8800F. And I want to thank you for watching. I found something beautiful.